In the previous video, we have just started our chapter number 9 and we have just understand about the stress, strain curve and Hooke's law. Today we are going to understand about the Young's modulus. Experimental observation shows that for a given material, the magnitude of the strain produced is the same whether the stress is tensile or compressive. The ratio of tensile stress to the longitudinal strain is defined as the Young's modulus and is denoted by the symbol Y. That is Y is equals to sigma upon epsilon. That is from equation 9.1 and 9.2 we have Y is equals to F upon A divided by delta L upon L. That is F into L divided by A into delta L. Since strain is dimensionless quantity, the unit of Young's modulus is the same as that of stress, that is Newton per meter square or Pascal. Table 9.1 gives the values of Young's moduli and yield strands of some material. From the data given in table, it is noticed that for metals Young's moduli are large. Therefore, these materials require large force to produce small change in length. To increase the length of a thin steel wire of 0.1 centimeter square cross-sectional area by 0.1%, a force of 2000 Newton is required. The force required to produce the same strain in aluminum, brass, copper wires having the same cross-sectional area 690 Newton, 900 Newton and 1100 Newton respectively. It means that steel is more elastic than copper, brass and aluminum. It is for this reason that steel is preferred in heavy duty machines and in structural designs. Wood, bone, concrete and glass have rather small Young's moduli. So here we are having some of the examples related to Young's modulus. Our next topic is determination of Young's modulus of material of wire. A typical experimental arrangement to determine the Young's modulus of a material of wire under tension is shown in figure. It consists of two long straight wires of same length and equal radius suspended side by side from a fixed rigid support. The wire A carries a millimeter main scale M and a pen to place a weight. The wire B of uniform area of cross section also carries a pen in which known weights can be placed. A vernier scale V is attached to a pointer at the bottom of the experimental wire B. The mean scale M is fixed to the reference wire A. The weights placed in the pen exert a downward force and stretch the experimental wire under a tensile stress. The elongation of the wire is measured by the vernier arrangement. The reference wire is used to compensate for any change in length that may occur due to change in room temperature. Since any change in length of the reference wire due to temperature change will be accompanied by an equal change in experimental wire. So here we are having a moduli arrangement for determination of material wire. Both the reference and experimental wires are given an initial small load to keep the wire straight and the vernier reading is noted. Now the experimental wire is gradually loaded with more weights to bring it under a tensile stress and vernier reading is noted again. The difference between two vernier reading gives the elongation produced in the wire. Let R and L be the initial radius and length of the experimental wire respectively. Then the area of cross section of the wire will be pi r square. Let M be the mass that produces an elongation delta L in the wire. Thus the applied force is equal to mg, where g is the acceleration due to gravity. From the equation, the Young's modulus of the material of the experimental wire is given by y is equals to sigma upon epsilon is equals to mg upon pi r square into L into delta L upon delta L. Shear modulus. The ratio of shearing stress to the corresponding shearing strain is called the shear modulus of the material and is represented by capital G. It is also called the modulus of rigidity. G is equals to shearing stress divided by shearing strain. That is G is equals to F upon A divided by delta x upon L, that is F into L upon A into delta x. Similarly, equation 9.4 is equals to G is equals to F upon A into theta, that is F is equals to A into theta. The shearing stress sigma s can also be expressed as sigma s is equals to G into theta. SI unit of shear modulus is Newton per meter square or Pascal. The shear moduli of a few common materials are given in table. It can be seen that shear modulus is generally less than Young's modulus. For most materials, G is equivalent to Y divided by 3. Now let's just understand the bulk modulus. In section 9.3, we have seen that when a body is submerged in fluid, it undergoes a hydraulic stress. This leads to decrease in the volume of the body, thus producing a strain called volume strain. The ratio of hydraulic stress to the corresponding hydraulic strain is called bulk modulus. It is denoted by symbol B, that is B is equals to minus P upon delta V upon V. The negative sign indicates the fact that with an increase in pressure, a decrease in volume occurs. That is, if P is positive, delta V is negative. Thus, for a system in equilibrium, the value of bulk modulus B is always positive. SI unit of bulk modulus is the same as that of pressure, that is Newton per meter square or Pascal. The bulk moduli of a few common materials given in table 9.3. The reciprocal of the bulk modulus is called the compressibility and is denoted by K. It is defined as the fractional change in volume per unit increase in pressure. That is K is equals to 1 upon B is equals to minus 1 upon delta P into delta V upon V. It can be seen from the data given in table 9.3 that the bulk moduli for the solids are much larger than for liquid, which are again much larger than bulk modulus of gaseous. Thus, solids are the least compressible, whereas gaseous are the most compressible. Gases are about 1,000,000 times more compressible than solids. Gases have large compressibility which vary with pressure and temperature. The incompressibility of the solid is primarily due to the tight coupling between the neighboring atoms. The molecules in liquid are also bound with their neighbors but not as strong as in solids. Molecules in gases are very poorly coupled to their neighbors. Table 9.4 shows the various types of stress, strain, elastic moduli and applicable state of matter of glance. Poisson's ratio. Careful observation with the Young's modulus experiment shows that there is also a slight reduction in cross section of the wire. The strain perpendicular to the applied force is called lateral strain. Simpson-Poisson pointed out that within the elastic limit, lateral strain is directly proportional to the longitudinal strain. The ratio of the lateral strain to the longitudinal strain in stretch wire is called Poisson's ratio. If the original diameter of the wire is d and the concentration of the diameter under stress is delta d, the lateral strain is delta d upon d. If the original length of the wire is L and elongation under stress is delta L, the longitudinal strain is delta L upon L. Poisson's ratio is then delta d upon delta L upon L or delta d upon delta L into L upon d. Poisson's ratio is the ratio of two strains. It is a pure number and has no dimensions or units. Its value depends only on the nature of material. For steels, the value is between 0.28 and 0.30. For aluminum alloy, it is about 0.33. Elastic potential energy in a stretch wire. When a wire is put under a tensile stress, work is done against the interatomic forces. This work is stored in the wire in the form of elastic potential energy. When a wire of original length L and area of cross section A is subjected to a deforming force F along the length of the wire, let the length of the wire be elongated by L. Then from equation we have F is equals to YA into L upon L, where Y is the Young's modulus of the material of the wire. Now for a further elongation of infinitesimal small length dl, work done dW is F into dl or YAL dl upon L. Therefore, the amount of work done in increasing the length of the wire from L to L plus L, that is from L equals to 0 to L equals to L, is W is equals to integration 0 to 1 y a L upon L dl. That is Young's modulus into strain square into volume of the wire is equals to 1 by 2 into stress into strain into volume of the wire. This work is stored in the wire in the form of elastic potential energy. Therefore, the elastic potential energy per unit volume of the wire is U is equals to half into sigma epsilon. Application of the elastic behavior of the materials. The elastic behavior of materials plays an important role in everyday life. All engineering design require precise knowledge of the elastic behavior of the materials. For example, while designing a building, the structural design of it, the columns, beams, supports require knowledge of the strength of the material used. Cranes used for lifting and moving heavy loads from one place to another have a thick metal rope to which the load is attached. The rope is pulled up using pulleys and motors. Suppose we want to make a crane which has a lifting capacity of 10 tons or metric tons. How thick should the steel rope? So उसका calculation हम stress and strain के हिसाब से कर सकते हैं. Corresponding to the radius of about 1 centimeter for a rope of circular cross section, generally a large margin of safety is provided. Thus, a thicker of radius about 3 centimeter is recommended. A single wire of this radius would practically be a rigid rod. So the ropes are always made of a number of thin wires braided together. उसको हम एक थीन वायर में लेते हैं और फिर उसके बाद हम उसकी ब्रेड बनाते हैं. सो उससे क्या होता है, उसकी थिकनेस जो है और उसका जो स्ट्रेंथ है वो क्या हो जाता है, अच्छा हो जाता है. अ ब्रिज हैज़ टू बी डिज़ाइन सच दैट इट कैन withstand the load of the flowing traffic, the force of winds and its own weight. Similarly, in the design of buildings, the use of beams and columns is very common. In both the cases, the overcoming of the problem of bending the beam under a load is of prime importance. The beam should not be bent too much or break. Let us consider the case of beam load. So यहाँ पे हमने एक beam load लिया है. So we are having a beam load, a beam supported at the ends and load at the center. सेंटर पे उसको लोड दिया गया है. दिस रिलेशन कैन बी डिराइव यूजिंग व्हाट यू हैव ऑलरेडी लर्न एंड लिटल कैलकुलस. सो हम यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं, वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग सम ऑफ द जो हमने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा गया है वही चीज़ हम यूज़ करके उसको बना रहे हैं. सो यहाँ पे डिफरेंस क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरियाज बताए गए हैं. दैट रेक्टेंगुलर सेक्शन, अ थीन बार एंड commonly used section for a load bearing bar. The use of pillars or columns is also very common in buildings and bridges. A pillar with round ends as shown in figure supports less load than with a distributed shape at the ends. मतलब ये जो है हमारे पास, this will be more useful. Okay, and we have just completed our chapter number 9 as well. बस इतना ही है. समरी पार्ट आप एक बार खुद से देख लेना. दिस इज़ क्वाइट ईजी चैप्टर. सो वी विल जस्ट स्टॉप हियर. इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट विथ आवर न्यू चैप्टर. थैंक यू.